today I want to talk about this sort of repeat pattern of constantly re-traumatizing yourself. If you are always going, oh my gosh, I should have done this, or why didn't I see that coming? And a lot of regret around this aspect of not trusting your intuition and really going back into this perpetuating cycle of choosing the same thing over and over again, and expecting a different result. So I want to ask you a question. If you've ever been sort of thinking that you can't believe that you did this again, or why do I keep choosing toxic relationships, or why do I keep giving this person the benefit of the doubt when I know he's going to do the same thing that works for him, then this video is for you. I want to talk about this from the space of betrayal blindness, because in retrospect, you might have missed some of the other sides, that maybe your partner was lying to you or that you were being betrayed. And it's really important to understand this topic, because when we're coming out of toxic relationships, and I speak to women every day that are in this space, and you have to notice that there's a period of time where you have to really start reviewing the whole relationship and looking at, oh my gosh, how could I not see that this person had a serious addiction or a gambling problem? How could I not have known that he's been having an affair with his secretary for years? How could I have not seen that, this was emotionally or physically abusive, and I kept staying in the relationship? Now, not only are you dealing with the trauma of being betrayed, or the trauma of realizing that this person that you were being vulnerable or intimate with was betraying your trust, but you're also carrying this great deal of shame that you should have known, you should have left earlier, you should have seen the signs. So just know that there is a way forward, and you just need to know that if you are dealing with the trauma of being betrayed, or you're in this place of feeling like you're a horrible person and you're in shame, or in this place where you're paralyzing yourself, this is where I help to support my clients make the integration of what's really going on from the root cause of when you created the pattern. And when you're in a codependent relationship, or when you're dependent on another person, whether it's a real dependency, such as you need them maybe for financial reasons, or you need support with growing your children up, or, perceived needs like dependency needs, like, oh, I need this person to tell me that I'm good enough or smart enough, or that I'm still attractive, or whatever it is for you. There's a million reasons and justifications why we hold on to this, because these needs are so strong when we're looking to somebody else to fill these needs, because we haven't learned how to fill that within ourselves, or to create safety for yourself. And this is where the fear of abandonment, or the fear is actually masked under the surface thing of, without this relationship, I don't know who I am. And you have to understand too that there are forms of betrayal that happen all the time. I mean, this is the used car salesman that sells you a car that isn't what he says it is, or somebody pinches something out of your purse, or steals something. There's those kinds of betrayals, but there's also the understanding that, this is core moral values, that it's not okay to break into somebody's car and damage your property, or take something that's not theirs. But I'm talking more about in relationship where there's intimacy, where there is this trust or this dependency that I love you, you reciprocate, and you do right by me. And there's this joint agreement that, we're supposed to be honest in a monogamous relationship if that's what you're choosing, and that I'm going to say what I need and vice versa. When you're in that type of relationship, an intimate, dependent relationship where there are strong levels of emotional and logistical ties to another, and that could be, as I said, the breadwinner, or, you're at home as the mom caring for your children, and you need your husband to go out and work. There is a strong dependency, and you just need to know that the more dependency there is in relationship, the more likely that you're going to ignore these red flags or these warning signs where there is betrayal or abuse, because the fear of losing that relationship is stronger than the voice that wants you to tell you that you're being harmed or lied to or, abused. So the more that you're dependent on that perpetrator of the betrayal, the more power that perpetrator has over you as the victim in this example. And, this is the same concept that I use for other abuses, domestic violence, or any kind of betrayal that you see in the adverse childhood experiences, where it's unacknowledged and it's undiscussed and it's unchanged for years. And, if you haven't done the ACE test, please go ahead and take it, because it's going to give you a good starting point to start reclaiming your interdependence, that you are full, that you are enough just as you are, and that anybody that's coming into your life, if they're not contributing to growing you, if they're not contributing to making your life more than it is without them, then we really need to look at what's going on underneath all of this surface level fear and doubt and self-sabotage, and get really honest as to, okay, when did this behavior start? Or when did you form the belief that you weren't good enough? Because it's really important that when you're reviewing any kind of toxic relationship and you're perhaps shaming yourself to say, how could I be so stupid? How could I be so pathetic? How could I be so blind to not see that this was an unhealthy person or an unhealthy relationship? You have to acknowledge the ways that you might have fallen into a betrayal blindness cycle, because essentially you're exploring, what is your dependency on this person to love you? Was it to validate you? Was it to bring home the bacon and help support you financially? Sometimes it's a physical thing, like you're ill or you have a disability and you need this person to physically help you live through life. But just know that all these kind of needs are going to suppress your intuition and your instincts that might be telling you to run like hell away from this person, that this person shouldn't be talking to you this way. They're obviously doing something nefarious or doing something behind your back. And even though you keep asking for your needs to be met, this person just can't hear you. And this is where betrayal blindness is going to pull the wool over your eyes, and you can only see what's going to keep you safe. You're only going to see what's going to keep you in that relation. So you're always looking for proof, visible proof as to why the reason you should stay outweigh the reasons why you should leave. And when I'm speaking with my clients in the subject matter of maladaptive patterns, childhood wounds, toxic relationships, I often, hear people say, but I had a really good childhood. I had wonderful parents. Where did it all go wrong? How did I find myself suddenly in this unhealthy situation or this abusive cycle or toxic stress with someone that's maybe an alcoholic or a cheater or somebody that is gaslighting you all the time? And this is where oftentimes, it's always after the fact that we see the infidelity, or you look back and you remember family members warning you, and they could see the warning signs and they were helping you to see it, but you kept ignoring it, right? It happened to me with my last ex-husband, who was a classic narcissist. And that's the reason why it's called betrayal blindness, because there's something deeper driving it. And oftentimes it's the fear of loss. It's the fear of losing partnership. It's about being alone. It's about the state of mind that you're in. And that's where you are in that space where what feeds the betrayal blindness is that you'll do anything to stay in that relationship at all costs and ignore the intuitive messages that are cautioning you and screaming at you to tell you, hey, this is not okay. You're being lied to, you're being betrayed, you're being harmed. It's harming your kids. It's harming everything, including a lot of times businesses and the way that you create money, because how you do anything is how you do everything. So, it is a place where we put the blinders on to the things that are happening and often cause the abuse to perpetuate. A lot of times for weeks, months. Some of my clients have endured this kind of treatment for years before they actually realize that they can't carry on this way. So just remember that every negative emotion, every insecurity that might be exacerbated by another person, just also appreciate that sometimes these not so loving people are there to help you to realize how you're cutting yourself off from what you truly want. So You might say to your partner that is going and coming or can't make up their mind whether they want you or want something else. And this is where the allowance part comes, that, their quest to find their own satisfaction unconditionally often is going to trigger in you an alignment that you've forgotten that you also need. And in the process of feeling abandoned or betrayed, that's where you can come home and create your own safety and your own stability. And that's going to make you a lot nicer person to be around. And who wouldn't want that? So this is just a little bit where I want you to go today on Wellness Wednesday to look at, where are you being unloving? Where are you being unwell? Because you're staying, regardless of the red flags, in a relationship or a job or an aspect of your life that isn't working for you anymore. March is for me the month that I'm really going to speak about how you can turn trauma into Dharma, because you can. And everything that's happened up until this point, even though you might not be able to transform it, you can't change what's happened, but you can transform through it. And this is where we can start seeing the perpetrator, the person that did betray you, the person that caused you pain, as a contributor to your growth. And stop being the victim, stop making them wrong. And just say, thank you, I see it, I appreciate it for what it is. And then you get to choose to walk away or choose to say no. So if you haven't listened to my other videos on how to create boundaries with impossible people, how to know the 6 key triggers to know if you're being verbally or emotionally abused, because we often don't see that, I suggest you a beautiful book that I've read. If you haven't, I highly recommend it, called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Remember that a lot of things we take personally are not personal, okay? It's just an interesting point of view. So ask yourself, is this really true? Is this contributing to your life, or is it taking away from the quality and the fulfillment of your life? Is it affecting your health in ways that are dangerous to your health? And if they are, sometimes when you're in it, you certainly can't see it when you're in it. But I do know, after working with lots and lots of people over the years, that how you do anything is how you do everything. Trust your bodies, yes. Trust your bodies, no. Is there something I need to be afraid of? Is there something that I need to move my attention to? When my dogs bark, I need to pay attention. Our bodies are like our dogs or our horses, and they are very insistently warning us, telling us when to move away from danger, telling us when to move towards things that are going to bring pleasure and growth into our lives. And you have to listen. And now the plovers are saying, hey, birds, dogs, back off, my eggs are here. Nature is communicating with us all the time. The nature of our body is communicating to us all the time. The cells in our body are communicating with each other all the time. Balance doesn't mean flatline. Okay? If you're flatlining, you're dead. That's where we're numbing down. We're in coping patterns where we're not fully alive to express our yes and no, our no's. So stay embodied. Stay in your body and let your body move you towards what it most desires, because your body is your greatest consciousness facilitator. And the sooner you get your head out the way and you start listening to your deep down, when you start listening to your body, that's when magic starts to happen. And if you need support, you know where I am. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're a little bit more aware of where you may be in some aspect of betrayal blindness. And the first step in changing this is to recognize that it's there, identify that it's there, and then ask, what's going to move me closer toward changing this? Who's there to support me? What tools, what resources do I have that is going to help me to stop this pattern repeat of addictive, abusive, traumatic cycles? So that's it for me, and I hope that you find them helpful. If they do, like it, share it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and take the ACE test over at sarahjanefarrell.com. And wherever you are, enjoy the rest of a beautiful Wellness Wednesday. And remember, the power of choice is yours and yours alone. So choose it.